This is Falcon Launch Control. We're a little bit more than an hour and 5 minutes away from the launch of SpaceX CRS-9. As you can see in the blackness of Cape Canaveral Air Force Station Space Launch Complex 40, the Falcon 9 rocket is perched on the launch pad with the Dragon capsule atop, ready to deliver payloads to the International Space Station, where the crew will be catching some rest. They'll be asleep at the time of launch. And when we lift off at 12:45 a.m., the International Space Station will be located 254 statute miles in altitude and southeast of Newfoundland. A milestone for this launch. This will be the second cargo launch in 31 hours after the successful liftoff of the Russian Progress space vehicle last night. And the Progress vehicle continues to operate perfectly. It's on target for a docking to the space station on Monday night. With the liftoff of the Dragon, it will join the complement of vehicles at the International Space Station on Wednesday. After liftoff from Complex 40 here at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, the Dragon will begin the journey to the station. About 10 minutes after launch, it will reach its preliminary orbit, deploy the solar arrays, and begin a carefully choreographed series of engine firings to rendezvous with the station. The rendezvous and grapple with the space station is scheduled to occur on Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be standing by for a weather briefing from 45th Space Wing Launch Weather Officer Mike McAleenan. That's 1 hour away from launch, so about 3 minutes from now. Everything continues to be go. This is Falcon Launch Control. This is Falcon Launch Control, and we're standing by for a weather briefing from Launch Weather Officer Mike McAleenan.
This is the LWO with the L-1 hour range weather briefing. On your video, you could see a enhanced infrared satellite picture showing the southeast U.S. You can see abundant storms over the Florida Peninsula today, all favoring the western part of the peninsula. With the easterly flow, you can see a little bit of upper-level clouds moving in towards the Cape. These are not a threat for launch and are thinning out as it's moving in. We did have a couple of showers develop along a convergent band just off to the east. These clouds moved in these showers and did violate earlier. They have all diminished and showing a diminishing trend. So threat is diminishing for cumulus and rain showers. Looking upper level winds, you can see we had a pretty steady the last 4 or 5 hours of light winds up to about 25,000 feet and peaking out at around 40,000 feet at about 30 knots. They were up to 40 knots earlier, and they are dropping back off now. Directly at the pad, our winds are about 10, peak 15 miles an hour, expected to remain that through the rest of the countdown. Direction has come from about 090 and drifted just south and maybe 120 degrees. We expect it to remain at 120 degrees through the remainder of the count. Solar activity is also cooperating. We are showing no constraints to launch for any kind of solar activity. We are go for all range safety commit criteria, Falcon 9 launch criteria, and Falcon 9 weather criteria, and expected to remain so for the remainder of the count. Forecast remains virtually unchanged with just a few cumulus clouds at 2,500 feet and a few cirrus clouds, remnant anvils at 28,000 feet. Winds will stay out of the east-southeast, 120 degrees, 10 peak, 15 miles an hour, and expecting 82 degrees at launch time. 10% chance of violation for a stray cumulus cloud or flight through precipitation associated with the cumulus cloud that may move in the next hour. Should we delay to Tuesday evening at 0Z on Wednesday, 0 local on Wednesday, we expect increase in cloud cover with stronger southeasterly flow and increase in wave activity, upper-level wave activity, giving us extra clouds, more widespread precipitation, and a 30% chance of violation with addition of thick cloud rule for that day. That's all I have, pending any questions.
Falcon Winds is Cape Winds on the weather brief net.
Go ahead, Cape Wind.
Wait on time release of HR9.
Copy.
This is Falcon Launch Control, and with a very good weather forecast from Launch Weather Officer Mike McAleenan. No violations for range safety or weather. Everything is looking real good for a liftoff tonight. At this time, we will hand over to my colleague George of the SpaceX CRS-9 Falcon 9 launch.
Thank you, Mike. And we're standing at T-minus 54 minutes, 50 seconds, and counting. This is Falcon Launch Control, where all of our countdown activities are proceeding on schedule for liftoff at 12:45 this morning. After liftoff from Complex 40, Dragon will begin its journey to the International Space Station. Just after 10 minutes after launch, the capsule will reach its preliminary orbit, deploy its solar arrays, and begin a carefully choreographed series of engine firings to rendezvous with the space station. With launch today, rendezvous and grapple with the ISS will occur on Wednesday, July 20th at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. At the time of launch today, the International Space Station will be at an altitude of 254 statute miles over the Atlantic Ocean southeast of Newfoundland. When the Dragon is grappled at the space station on Wednesday morning, it will be located over the Atlantic Ocean off the east coast of New Jersey. There's a total of 4,975 pounds of cargo aboard the Dragon. Included inside the pressurized portion of the cargo module are over 2,000 pounds of science experiments from NASA and CASIS, the Center for the Advancement of Science in Space. And in addition, there are 800 pounds of crew supplies, 280 pounds of spacewalk equipment, and also 119 pounds of hardware for our Russian partners. In the unpressurized section is the International Docking Adapter, which will weigh in just over 1,000 pounds and is critical for future missions to the International Space Station. At T-minus 53 minutes, 2 seconds, and counting, this is Falcon Launch Control.
OSM LC on countdown.
OSM.
Verify flight hazard area roadblocks are established.
They're established.
And verify OSM is go for propellant load.
Go for propellant load.
This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 44 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. All activities are on schedule for our liftoff of the Falcon 9 with the Dragon capsule at 12:45. And as you heard from our launch weather officer, Mike McAleenan, we have a go weather forecast. I'm joined now by Stephanie Martin, my colleague working our launch tonight, and she is very much involved with our activities associated with the International Space Station and the upcoming planned missions to the space station on our commercial crew program. So we'd like to let Stephanie talk now some about what's going up on this mission that's directly associated with the ISS and what's particularly critical that's going to be on board. Stephanie?
Thank you, George. So I've got 4 investigations that I'd really like to highlight for our audience today. The first one is the biomolecular sequencer. Determining the sequence of an individual organism's DNA helps us understand various environments and how those environments may affect the organisms. Currently, DNA sequencing can only be done on Earth, but this biomolecule sequencer investigation, launching on tonight's Dragon, will test a miniature device that could make it possible aboard spacecraft. Crews could use DNA sequencing to monitor and identify microbes and immediately determine appropriate remediation strategies, a capability that will be critical as we explore beyond our Earth. Our second investigation is the phase change heat exchanger. In space, there is no atmosphere to protect from temperature extremes of sunlight and shadow. Devices called phase change material heat exchangers could help maintain critical temperatures inside a spacecraft by freezing or thawing a material. The Dragon launch will carry a new type of heat exchanger to the station for testing. This phase change heat exchanger project could lead to better temperature regulations for future missions. The next investigation that I'd like to highlight for our audience is osteomics. Astronauts and bedridden people have something in common, and that's bone loss. Scientists study the mechanisms of this bone loss on Earth using magnetic levitation devices to simulate microgravity. The osteomics investigation will test the accuracy of this simulation by comparing genetic changes in bone cells exposed to magnetic levitation on Earth with those exposed to real microgravity aboard the space station. On the camera here, you'll see an insect using that levitation experiment on Earth, and that'll really help us understand whether it's truly reflective of microgravity. And one key investigation that is being launched with CASIS is the heart cells investigation, which will study how microgravity changes the human heart and how those effects vary from one individual to another. We've got a video package now that'll tell us a little bit more about this investigation and what impacts it will have for us here on Earth.
Our project is a basic science project focusing on the effect of microgravity on the function of the human heart cell. The heart cell on the single cell level is the one that actually contracts or generates force to power the rest of the heart.
So our lab focuses on the heart because I'm a cardiologist by training, and gist of the research is that we're taking patients' blood. From the patient's blood, we convert them into induced pluripotent stem cells.
We're basically taking a small sample of a patient's own skin or blood cells and then transforming those cells into stem cells, which is a very powerful cell type because it can actually turn into any other cell type you want.
The space station is a great resource, not just for us, but for other investigators that just want to understand what is the effect of near zero gravity on human body.
This is a really new technology, and so there's so much that we don't know yet. Using the International Space Station, we can dream big. We can think of ideas, think of questions, think of novel concepts that otherwise we wouldn't be able to do here on Earth.
And we'll have more later, George.
Right, thank you very much, Stephanie. And we're getting ready to go into a poll now to pick up our readiness for tanking. We'll be hearing our SpaceX launch conductor, Ty Morton, polling the launch team. We're now at T-minus 38 minutes, 47 seconds and counting. This is Falcon Launch Control.
Let's see on countdown and launch vehicle, and this time we're all complete and ready to go to propellant load, including Dragon.
Big copies.
Attention all stations verify ready for launch. Props go. AVI.
AVIs go.
GNC.
GNCs go.
Recovery is go. Ground is go. VC.
VCs go.
GC.
GCs go.
RC.
RC go.
OSM.
OSM is go.
Rock
is go.
CE.
Go.
MD. MD go. LD verify go to initiate propellant load. LD is go to initiate propellant load.
And that go from our SpaceX launch director, John Murator. Range reporting they are up and ready to support at this time.
This is LC on countdown net. For T-minus 30 seconds, any no-go condition shall be immediately briefed to the LD or CE for resolution without a hold being called. Hail the LD or CE on launch vehicle net by saying no-go, recommend hold, and brief the anomaly immediately. LD or CE will finalize stopping the launch countdown. At T-minus 30 seconds or later, indicate an urgent need to abort the launch sequence with high risk of imminent hardware damage by saying hold on the primary countdown net. The VC will abort the auto sequence immediately. If a hold is called, all operators proceed to the launch abort steps in section 55. DC, this is LC on countdown. Start the launch auto sequence set to start at T-minus 35 minutes for Dragon. Attention all personnel. Stand by to pick up the count, T-minus 35 minutes and counting on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. BC, confirm launch auto sequence has started.
Launch auto is started.
OSM, set launch enable to flight.
Flight.
Resuming stage 1, stage 2 fuel load. Stage 1 locks, vented for fast fill. And stage 1 locks, fill rate nominal. And stage 1, stage 2 fuel fill rates are nominal.
One major piece of hardware launching on tonight's cargo resupply mission is an international docking adapter, which contains a series of sensors that will allow visiting spacecraft to autonomously dock with the station. I'm Stephanie Martin, and I'm joined here with Steve Payne, who's a commercial crew engineer responsible for the launch site integration. Steve,
hello, Stephanie.
Can you tell me a little bit about this international docking adapter? Why do we need it on the International Space Station?
Well, this is what's going to be used by all future international spacecraft that are going to be docking to the station. It is a standard that we have designed that all vehicles will now be designed to dock to. Our two commercial crew spacecraft, the Dragon capsule and the CST-100 Starliner, will both dock to this adapter. So once we get these in place, the station will be capable of accepting our commercial crew vehicles.
That's very exciting. And we heard this morning that this international docking adapter is fully autonomous. So with the spacecraft being autonomous as well, that'll really limit the crew time on station that will be required for dockings.
Well, that's true. It used to be in the old days that you had to do it the hard way and dock manually. This has all the instrumentation that will allow spacecraft to come do it all automatically, and it's a whole lot lighter workload on the crew.
That's great. Now, this launch and this hardware, there's a unique story here. Boeing's built the international docking adapter, SpaceX is launching it, and they're actually gonna use it.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat thing. We're one of our partners building it, and another partner is transporting it up, and then once it's up on station, everybody will use this. So it's kind of an interesting way we're doing things, and it's one big program.
It is. Now, the commercial crew program. You guys are extremely busy building two new human spaceflight vehicles, working closely with Boeing and SpaceX. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Well, there's so much to tell. It's kind of interesting because we have two new entire infrastructures being built. On the one side, we have our Atlas V launch vehicle, which is a vehicle that's been around for a while, but the launch pad now has a new crew access tower. And eventually, not too long from now, we'll be installing a crew access arm on it, and we will be installing all the different systems to make it ready. The teams are working on their training, they're working on their procedures, and we're really looking forward to getting these vehicles integrated and tested and get our first few test flights out of the way. On the other hand, our SpaceX partners have got their Dragon capsule that they've been testing for a while, their Falcon 9 rocket, one of which we're launching tonight, and they're doing a lot of work on their launch pad. Our old launch pad 39A is being refurbished completely, and it will be capable of doing human space launches. So we're going to have two fully functional launch pads, two fully functional systems, redundant capability with two U.S.-based partners that'll be able to take our astronauts to and from space station. This is something we've been wanting to do for a long time now.
Thank you. Now, my last question for you is, why is it important for America to have this capability to launch our own astronauts?
Well, we've always had this capability, except for a hiatus between programs. We don't like having to be dependent on somebody else to take our astronauts. It's always been something that we've been proud to do ourselves. And so getting this capability here in the States is a wonderful thing. Plus, we are fomenting a new industry. The whole commercial spaceflight thing is new. Back like in the days of airlines in the old, it was an industry which was a fledgling kind of thing where only the very wealthy could fly. Eventually it became where everybody could fly. We have to start somewhere, and this is the beginning of that. Someday everybody will be able to fly into space, and this is the beginning of that industry.
Thank you so much, Steve. This is a very exciting time. We're going to see a wonderful commercial cargo launch tonight, and we're getting ready to see the return of human spaceflight on commercial vehicles.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
As am I. We're looking for smoke and fire out of our launch pads here at Kennedy and at Cape Canaveral.
Absolutely. Well, that is it for us right now. We're going to go back to George shortly with the next countdown.
Stage 2, high flow. DB purges are up. Preparation for fuel closeout. Stage 2, fuel closeout. Pogo bleed verification. Initializing strongback dense chill. Stage 1 locks, throttling back. Preparation for Stage 2 locks load. stage 2 LOX load coming up. And stage 2 boost and controls up.
This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 18 minutes, 32 seconds and counting. All of our activities continue to be on schedule as we've heard the launch team going through the checklist and activating the various systems on board the Falcon 9 and the Dragon in preparation for our launch tonight. About 10 minutes after launch, Dragon reaches its preliminary orbit. It then deploys its solar arrays and begins a carefully choreographed series of thruster firings to reach the space station. After a 2-day trip, NASA astronauts Jeff Williams, supported by astronaut Kate Rubins, will use the station's 57.7-foot robotic arm to reach out and grapple the Dragon spacecraft as they operate from the station's cupola. Ground commands will be sent from Houston for the station's arm to rotate Dragon around and install it on the ISS on the Earth-facing side of the station's Harmony module for the duration of its stay at the International Space Station. And then, during the next 5 weeks, the crew will unload the spacecraft and reload it with cargo for return to Earth. Departure from the International Space Station is tentatively planned to occur on or about August 29th. It will bring back experiments and biological samples from the flight crew, and then approximately 5 hours after Dragon leaves the station with its download cargo, it will conduct a deorbit burn, which lasts about 7 to 10 minutes. It then takes approximately 30 minutes to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and splash down on its 3 main parachutes in the Pacific Ocean, 227 nautical miles off the coast of Baja California, about 5.5 hours after departing the International Space Station. We're now at 16 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. This is Falcon Launch Control. This is Falcon Launch Control. All activities continue on schedule. The SpaceX launch team will be polled for their readiness to start the terminal countdown auto sequence. At about T-minus 11 minutes, they'll give a readiness to proceed into that auto sequence start at T-minus 10 minutes. And at that point, the Falcon 9 and Dragon auto sequence will be underway. And they'll begin chilling the 9 first stage Merlin engines on the Falcon 9. Next activity after that will be the engine chill starting associated with the second stage, and Dragon will be going to internal power. And then we'll get into the final sequence after the Eastern Range does their communications checks. That means that the transfer of the Falcon 9 to internal power can begin. We're at T-minus 13 minutes, 36 seconds and counting. This is Falcon Launch Control.
Stage 2 helium load coming up. MVAC and E9 BTV heater sub. Preparation for engine choke. Stage 2 locks, throttling back for cryohelium load. Grid fin pneumatics secured. And boostback hazards disabled. Flight software final setups are complete. Hydraulic T-tub and spin final setups in work. And ground software final setups are complete. M1D trim valve setups complete. Stage 1 cryohelium is in topping. hydraulic pressure coming up. Preparation for bleed.
This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 7 minutes, 42 seconds and counting. In about another 40 seconds. Dragon will be going into internal, and the engine chill sequence will be starting in about half a minute. We're at T-minus 7 minutes, 20 seconds and counting.
Stage 1 helium cushion secured. And impact is chilling in. And M1D is chilling in. Impact hydraulics and bleed pressures. M1D is reasserting to TVC, null position.
This is Falcon Launch Control. Less than a minute away, we'll have communications checks with the Eastern Range, and that will set the stage for transferring the Falcon 9 to internal power. Engine chill now underway. Dragon on internal power.
MVAC FTV setups complete. Stage 1 fuel closed out. And vehicles and self-align.
RCO's you loud and clear.
Closing out stage 1, stage 2 heaters. Securing stage 1 helium bubble. And stage 1, stage 2 pressing for strong back retract.
MIFCO, OSM, RCO, this is RC on countdown 1 with a comm check.
MIFCO has you loud and clear. OSM loud and clear.
RCO?
RCO's you loud and clear.
RC copies all agencies loud and clear, moving to range ops.
MVAC fuel bleed. Stage 2 high flow DB purchase up. Preparation for LOX closeout. Stage 1, stage 2 at strong back retract pressures.
Getting ready to retract the strong back from around the vehicle.
FTS is on internal power.
I'll see.
FTS is armed. Pogo bleed verification.
Strong back coming back around from the vehicle.
GNC, this is LC on countdown. Verify S2 TVC motion is nominal.
S2 TVC motion is nominal.
LC.
Stage 1 lock secured for flight.
T-minus 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Back igniter purge is complete.
Flight computer will begin final pre-launch checks in about another minute. We're now at T-minus 2 minutes and counting. 2 minutes.
Stage 2 lock secured for flight. Falcon 9 is on internal power. M1D TVC ground supply at full pressure. Vehicles in self-line. Stage 1 and Stage 2 cryo-helium secured for flight.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
VC and DC on countdown. Verify F9 and Dragon are in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in startup.
Stage 1, Stage 2 pressing for flight.
T-minus 30 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Preparing to turn on the pad water deluge system.
T-minus 20 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
Main engine start will be commanded at T-minus 3 seconds.
T-minus 10, 9.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Main engines up and running and liftoff of the Falcon 9 to the space station, preparing for the arrival of commercial crews while continuing experiments for long-term living in space. Falcon 9 having cleared the tower.
Secure the pad. Come on, pad net A. Avionics, telemetry, and power recovery.
Communications from telemetry data, we have a good flight going. Vehicle going through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure, vehicle's transonic.
Stage 1 propulsion's nominal. MVAC chill has begun.
Avionics, power, and telemetry look good.
Flight telemetry data looks good, vehicle on course, on track. Engine cut off in about 15 seconds. And we've got it, main engine cut off.
We have stage separation. Stage 1 has entered its flip. Stage 1 boost back is starting.
First stage, that call for the first stage for a return to landing on Complex 13 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. Nominal. Stage 2 propulsion looks good.
Stage 1 boost back is shut down.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Bermuda acquisition of signal. Avionics reports power and telemetry are good.
Good data from Bermuda. Actual liftoff time was 12:45:29.318.
We have AOS at New Hampshire.
Stage 2 propulsion still nominal.
Second stage looks good. New Hampshire tracking station relaying data now.
Avionics systems are nominal.
First stage reentry burn coming up in about 15 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn is started. Stage 1 entry burn is shut down.
Stage 2 propulsion still nominal.
Still a good flight going for Dragon to the International Space Station.
Stage 1 is transonic.
First stage on the way back.
Stage 1 landing burn has started. Landing legs have deployed. LZ-1, Falcon 9 has landed. Landing operators moving to procedure 11.100 on recovery and LZ-1 ANET.
Mission control for SpaceX in Hawthorne, California. Staff celebrating what appears to have been a successful landing at Complex 13 here at Cape Canaveral. First stage sitting on the pad.
And we have SECO.
Preparing for separation of the Dragon. And we have it. Dragon has separated.
New front limb acquisition of signal.
Good launch, good landing. Dragon on its way. Dragon should begin to deploy its solar arrays in less than a minute. Waiting for confirmation that the solar arrays have begun to deploy. We're now 12 minutes into the flight. And there go the solar arrays. Launch was 12 minutes 30 seconds. Solar array deployment in work. Solar array deployment looks good. Data coming through the tracking and data relay satellite.
And we have LOS at New Hampshire.
And we're looking now at the Mission Control Center at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, where they have been watching with great interest the success of this launch and of the Dragon spacecraft, because that means we have a rendezvous with the space station coming up on Wednesday morning. We've got some replays now of the launch of the Falcon 9.
Near full unexpected loss of signal.
This is Falcon Launch Control. We're now at 21 minutes, 56 seconds into the mission of the CRS-9 flight of the Dragon on its mission to the space station, CRS-9. And with that, we will conclude our launch broadcast of our coverage of the flight of the Falcon 9 and the Dragon and prepare for our post-launch news conference, which we are targeting for approximately 2 a.m. Eastern Time. So that will be our next planned activity on NASA TV for CRS-9. And with that, we will close out our countdown and launch coverage of CRS-9 at 22 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. This is Falcon Launch Control.